Greetings and thank you for listening to the radio broadcast that is broadcasting the frequency for Dungeons, Drive-Ins, and Dice. I cannot stay long, as we are soon to depart for greener pastures, but I can say that, if required, the content warnings can be found in the video description below.
Last week, traipsed around the station a bit, but more just like narratively checked in with each other and the station and decided that this is the time. We know like what problems arise, but with more people comes more ability to research. So we have triggered the beacon and placed it in the plains. We know that they are preparing the station and they will take off. The estimated arrival time was about 2 weeks. So they will be crashing into the planet. And with that in mind, we returned to, I imagine, the observation bay, because that just is like the most calm place at the moment that we know of. What do you folks want to do in this 2 weeks to prepare?
Ola's first big priority is to try and figure out how to get creation from the wreckage of whatever, of like when this ship comes down, whatever it looks like when it lands. I assume not good or livable. To get creation up into this new space station and maybe figure out, maybe creation can tell the station to let go, in for a penny, in for a pound with this, with our new techno overlord.
Retrofit our ship for transporting our guy.
I also sort of wonder about, they're not going to be able to live in the ship anymore, right? Like once it's landed, that's not going to be a space you can live in.
We'll be able to transplant it into We'll be able to transform it into livable dwellings.
I imagine that the material, while blown apart, is usable for building material, like sheets of steel plus and, varied things like that. So there might be like a Fallout style city able to be built, small town able to be built, because it's very large station. Lots of, plate metal to break down and turn into dwelling like walls and such.
We know about welding.
Well, then maybe Cole is also like trying to clear some land somewhere. Just as like a base camp, set up a tent. You know what a tent is? Kind of a spot for all of the people who aren't expecting to crash into a planet real soon.
Yeah, where do you want to do that in comparison to where you have set this beacon? I have a little grid in my mind and up physically on my computer, but it would take a while to share you guys on it and get it pulled up and etc. So it's more just a conceptual grid for this, in which the beacon is in the middle of
far away.
Yeah. The beacon's in the middle of a plains area. We don't have much more of the area defined around that. So that could be what you spend your 2 weeks doing, sort of surveying the land and getting an idea of what's in the area. You could set up a base camp at some point on this grid, safely far away, north or south away, and be prepared to accept it. That's a totally cool thing. I'm just, spitballing ideas based off of all that.
I think Cola's 2 weeks, I've decided he's going to do, he's sort of going to make a pilgrimage from the beacon site to the space station, or at least far enough away towards the space station that he can find a spot to clear some area and say he did something for the people who crashed.
Look, I participated.
I participated. Hey, ship, can you come pick me up and then take me the rest of the way to the space station?
Yeah, you guys have chosen
He's
a
hoping
spot
that we can just get creation aboard the ship.
Yeah, I mean, to get creation aboard the ship, you're either going to have to travel halfway around the planet, a quarter of the way around the planet because you have chosen the furthest point from space station arms to set this beacon. So you'll have to either travel just like on land over there and figure out how to get that distance up onto the station, or you can fly him, get him, detached from the wreckage of the Delta and onto your ship and fly him up there. You know that your ship is going to be working, but that you have a limited amount of fuel. You don't really know what is going to be usable aboard the Delta.
Then,
We need to
them's are
have
the risks.
We need to have every ship aboard the Delta exit the Delta as soon as it gets out of faster than light travel.
It's not a bad idea.
Just as many people in the know. We just need to get them on as many ships as possible. Just loaded with like things that explode and fuel and things we desperately don't want to just be crashing into the savannah.
I think, that I would at least maybe posit that some of your time could be spent like preparing the Delta with like extra info that they would need, like
I've got a two-parter, I think.
getting the communication lines going to see what lists they need. While thinking about all of this, all of this is going to start to build out a map and a play space and a resource list and all of these other things for a future thing. Okay, so Kola, you said you're trekking off to try to build a little campsite, sort of a secondary community placement where they can go. I like this.
Yeah, just a first step for them.
Yeah, are you being dropped off by your ship at the like beacon site and then like pilgrimage walking it?
I did say that. Honestly, I don't mind if the ship drops me off in the safe zone and I can just sort of get to work.
Okay, if you're being dropped off by the ship in the safe zone, then you kind of have an option of area that you could be in. As far as the roughest layout goes, Beacon is in the center of a plains-like area. Small rises and falls to the landscape surround it. About 100 miles in either direction, east and west, are your hellscapes. West, frozen, east, burning. About 100 miles to the north, we begin seeing like woodland begin to crop up before a forest comes. Since you're the first one checking out this landscape, what biome is to the south 100 miles?
I think it's gonna be like a scrubby alpine up into mountains, like a pine forest that goes up the side of some steep mountains.
I like that. We have forest to the north and we have alpine woods to mountains to the south. With that in mind, where do you think you're put down? You have some choices.
The flattest place.
Yeah, that would be the plains, clearly, but are you just trying to be put down in the plains? Do you have resources? Are you going to collect resources from one of these wooded areas?
The closest river, maybe, in the safe zone.
Okay.
Would be a good spot to be.
Okay, I have that.
I'm just gonna try and clear like a 50-foot circle. I can probably do that in 2 weeks. That seems doable.
With one hand?
Oh. Well, maybe. We still don't really know what this other hand does. It could be the best tree cutting hand we've ever seen.
This is my terraforming.
You have used it
wrist
accidentally.
I used it to thunk a dude on the head.
Yeah, it gave a blow up.
The ground.
It gave a blow up when you did that.
Okay. Well, maybe I also try punching trees.
Yeah.
They'll blow up.
Yeah. All right. So I've placed a river here to the south since you created the idea of river. I put it coming out of this alpine wood. So down from the mountains, across the sort of southeast corner of the plains and off of a little cliff's edge into the burning wastelands where it doesn't last much longer after it hits. There's a small shallow pool at the bottom of that cliff's edge. But it seems far enough away from the place you've put your beacon, if, that is indeed where it is to hit, that is nestled up amongst the edge of this river leading into the woods, giving you access to wood. It's flat because you're in the plains, and the river water for however you want to run that. Yeah, and your team drops you off there and you get to work. Are you clearing out some of this wood? Are you doing anything with this wood? Are you just like clearing brush and moving rocks? Like, what does this look like for Kola? How does he prepare this space?
Cola is pretty organized, I think, about it. Cola is moving all the rocks into a pile of rocks and cutting up all of the wood into different sizes of wood, and then maybe he's making a path with the rocks. As he's clearing stuff, he's like, this is going to be where we keep the food, and makes a rock path. This is going to be where we, I don't know, weave tapestries of our great deeds, and he makes another rock path.
Okay. Begins laying sort of a
It's literally
blueprint
just like the
foundation.
basics of basics.
Like a blueprint on the ground.
If I crash onto a planet, I think the worst thing to hear on the day that you climbed out of your planet is, "Hey, now you have to set up your own campsite."
That is
I used to live in a spaceship, and now I
you
have
have
to
to set up your own place where we leave tapestries.
This is true.
So someone else is going to set camp for them, because that's the least I can do.
All right. Begin to set camp down to the south of this area. Okay. While Kola is down there clearing brush, moving stone, and creating a basic blueprint for a town, beginning to prep that. Does anyone else have a preparatory action in 2 weeks? Does anyone want to survey more of the land? We could always develop out more of this. Does anyone want to collect supplies? Learn about the nearby star map?
So Slippy has he has a couple of ideas. One of them, he's going to spend a little bit of time. We can go over this later. He wants to spend a little bit of time helping the Dawn, figure out what kind of like escape vessels we can launch with supplies, and like what are the things that we need to protect from this crash. Because we only have so many people that know. I'm sure that we'll only be able to get so many ships to do this. So we need to figure out, we need to just call a meeting and, divvy that up. Decide what is most important for what they're coming into. Anyway, the other thing that Slippy wants to do is Slippy is going to go and survey the land and do some hunting of the local wildlife. Because if Carissa did get his email, he does want to sort of look very, masculine, like a provider. He's going to be salting the meats and, preparing the game for the village. He's a provider. At least that's the image that he wants to portray.
Okay, what is that list? Give me your, in order of most importance, 5 most important things that they should, like their 5 most important focuses.
Ship fuel, because we want to have fuel for the ships that will be able to survive the crash. Number 2, tools. We need the tools that will be difficult to replace. We're talking machinery. We're talking fabrication devices.
Okay.
We're talking good hammers, like the one that Slippy had in a previous episode. Number 3, cooking things, like burners, and, you gotta have cups, water purification shit, etc. What am I on? Was that 3?
That was 3.
Are we on 4?
Yep.
Okay, number 4. Books for the children. Gotta have books for the children. Because if there's nothing to entertain the children, then everyone else is gonna have a bad time. We're talking Playmobil. We're talking Mega Bloks. We're talking Berenstein Bears.
Okay.
And number 5, big number 5, this one is actual food. This is just immediate consumption devices. This is clean water and long-lasting food.
Rations. Okay. I have that list. We'll see how that goes. We'll just do this for first part, like as Gabe gets, or as Hayakola gets dropped down in this little river nestled amongst the beginnings of an alpine wood, and he gets to work on this. Slippy is back on the station beginning these talks. This is the beginning of these 2 weeks.
Does that sound good, everybody? Is that a good list? I don't know. I feel like I lost it about halfway through.
No, that's okay. When you hit 3 and you didn't realize that you had 2 more to go, it was hard to get, but
I thought I had the good stuff already front loaded.
it is good stuff. I'm glad you included food as a narrow fifth. Narrowly avoiding that situation for sure. Carl, BBW, do you have any ideas on ways to check out, I don't know, either a nearby area, resources?
Carl had plans to start, since this is a new environment with a new biosphere, basically, going around and kind of collecting all the different plant life he can find, and getting together a group to help with this, if possible. So that way, when the ship gets here, our research department can go over them, see what's edible, what's lethal, what's stuff we can use to help us build, what's familiar, what's new.
I love this. It
sounds like you
give old lady Weathers lots to do.
Slippy and Carl could both go out in the wilderness, collect samples, and hunt wildlife.
Yeah, it sounds like. So along with that, Carl, let's see. Since, this research will be done in post, what is one dangerous plant in the area and what does it do? In any form or it could be dangerous like a poison ivy, it could be like a poisonous berry, it could be really, it could be anything.
Cattails?
Cattails, like the things that look like hot dogs?
Yeah, how on impact they rapidly expand?
Yeah.
Those, except tiny needles.
Oh.
So when they rapidly expand, it's potentially deadly.
Oh, no. Okay, needle cattail.
We have to live here, right?
No, that was supposed to be the dangerous one, needle cattails.
We have cacti, and they're not a fucking problem, Lawrence. Come on.
They are a problem. Have you ever touched a cactus? We tried to pick cactus fruits,
Phoenix,
and
Arizona.
That's fair.
They're not that much of a problem.
That's fair. They're not.
They're pretty problematic.
They're only problematic if you're a tourist.
Off the trail, they're a problem.
They're only problematic if you're a tourist. Okay, so we have a dangerous plant. What is one medicinal plant, and how does it what does it remedy? Stomachache, flu, blindness.
I was gonna say blindness.
If it I don't know that it cures blindness, but maybe it aids. Maybe it can help.
A root that, when ground up, can cure several forms of blindness.
Okay.
How do we find that out?
Grinding it up.
Look for one drug one time, and I could see.
Job.
All right, the cocaine root. Heard. Ground root helps blindness. Love it. And then lastly, a main source of nutrition in vegetable in the area. It could be a vegetable, a fruit, a plant, some valuable source of nutrition.
I think that we go out to cut down one of the multiple types of trees that we're unfamiliar with in the area one of these days, and we go to swing the axe, and whoever's cutting it down, and it just kind of goes halfway into the tree, because it is a very soft tree with a meaty interior. Not quite like a mushroom, a giant mushroom, but a little bit harder than that.
Okay. Trees with
edible trees. Whole forest of food. Flesh. The edible tree.
Edible meat inside. I'm gonna put meat in quotes because it's not.
I believe it is called meat.
But yeah,
It's
I just
not
don't.
meat, but it is
The concept
meat.
of rotten meat.
Yeah,
in
but,
trees is horrid. Is horrid.
It's just a meat tree.
It's a meat tree. Okay, a meat tree.
Just as a counter argument.
Meat tree.
Dante, what does BBW get up to in the beginning of this time?
See, I heard mentions of like tool making and stuff. And I figure since BBW is not like a hard labor kind of person, robot, he doesn't like go out and hunt. He's definitely a party robot that likes to adventure through. He's gonna make the tools that are necessary and provide all the snacks needed.
Okay.
I feel like he would like help around everywhere.
Okay. I mean, I think that is a valuable addition to the team. Talk to me about what you think the 3 most important tools that BBW can make are, or like having, a surplus of these tools for the community to use.
First thing for sure, a pickaxe. One very strong pickaxe.
Classic.
Something to break stone apart with.
Indeed.
Okay.
For hunting and capturing berries and stuff, like a net gun.
Catching berries with a net gun. I like that.
Exactly. If you have a net gun with a harpoon, something like that.
Net gun with a harpoon, yes.
I'm not sure what a third one could be, but he needs some way of gathering materials for himself, so I'm sure he would need like a scoop of some sort.
A scoop. A scoop of
He
some
probably
sort.
already has a scooper.
100%.
Do you feel that could sit as a shovel? Do you feel that could sit as not scoop enough? So I boiled these down, one into stone breakers, because I'm thinking about, like in this case, how you're crafting these tools. I think that you could probably craft some form of like hard object to smash rock with easily. We could just call them pickaxes, doesn't really matter. As far as the net guns, I don't know that we have guns to like repurpose into net guns, but you could focus time on making traps that, you could use vines and shit as the rope for nets. You can do pitfalls, you can do like spike traps, we can get like real primal with it, because like that's the kind of planet that we're on, right? This planet doesn't have space travel on its own. All of the excess technology here is either on this big space station or being brought by the Delta's crash.
Yeah, in fact, I think we know that this place probably wouldn't have developed space travel.
Yes. You know that it was assumed that they wouldn't. Yeah. So traps, I thought that kind of like resulted in that, because like you can hunt with traps, you can protect yourself with traps, you can do loads there with traps. As far as the scoop goes, what does that sit for you? What is this, like, if you're making a surplus of these tools, what does that do for the community? If it is like, oftentimes BBW, that's yeah, man.
Oh, then
We're
not
spinning
everybody needs a scooper.
No, not everyone needs a scooper. This is like
Very
what
specific tool.
Yeah. Yes. It could fit into BBW's play to make a thing that, make a bunch of scoops that only he would use, and maybe someone else finds a purpose in them. But it could be maybe like containers. Maybe there's a clay near the river. You can do like pottery. You can make like to store water, to store.
Definitely could use more storage.
Is that anything? Is that anything for you?
I'm not so sure.
Okay.
You know what? By the river, though, BBW could be making his own little crop farm. So maybe he would want to make tools to help others like make crops.
Preparing like farmland?
Yeah.
I like that. And farming implements. Okay. So then I think instead of like traps and pickaxes, it's farmland that you're preparing. Okay. Farmland. I like that. And then you're preparing like farm implements, right? Like farm tools, hoes, shovels. God, if I knew more about farming. Those are the only tools I know, but you make them.
Backhoes.
The backhoe.
Tractor.
The backhoes to the backmost, or specifically not the backmost.
The track atmos tour.
Okay, I like that. I like that. A little prep of farm work, not far to the since we're like right up on the river, not far to the west of where Cola is preparing this little community space for buildings to begin to be able to be made. Okay, that feels like a good start to this. We've begun exploring this area a little bit. We've discovered a little bit of the flora and fauna. I liked Lawrence splitting it up into a second option, especially because in that so like we can imagine that's week one, with Lawrence's extra prep work on the station. They have begun sort of the final lockdown procedures. They're now informing the station. They're now like locking down rooms. In a few days they will be jumping into Lightspeed. FTL. And so as Slippy has as Slippy is done sort of helping the station prepare with what they find important or what they think will be important, he's now going to go check out some animals in the nearby area. So talk to me about the most dangerous predator in the area.
It's a giant sloth. We have them here. It's probably one of the most aggressive predators on the planet. We call them drop bears because they do in fact drop from sloth position.
Dude, that is terrifying. If you're not prepared, how much does a bear weigh? Like 300 pounds? Bigger?
More than that, for sure.
Yeah.
600.
Brown bear like 300 pounds. Brown bears are small. These are bigger than that.
Yay, only 600 pounds dropping on me. The end of my life for sure. Okay, drop bear. I like to drop bears. Okay.
If you hear the thump, that's a good thing.
Is it?
Yeah, you've lived past the most dangerous part.
I guess it is more dangerous to have it drop atop you, but you are not by any mean out of danger. Okay, that's fair. Okay, the drop bear. I'm in love with a drop bear. Do the drop bears exist in both of these woodlands, and are they different? The alpine woods.
Yeah, there's a purple drop bear and there's a green drop bear. The green ones are better because they are smaller, and they also yell as they're coming down. The other ones are completely silent.
Well, okay, the screaming drop bears.
How do they yell? We need the sound clip.
Okay. I may or may not cut that sound clip. Anyway, okay, then the screaming drop bears, do those exist in the southern woods or the northern woods? The mountain woods or the wood woods?
Which ones is closer to the unlivable area?
Neither, but I'll say that Gabe is creating a townlit area near the Southwoods.
Green Southwoods.
The screaming ones, okay.
Yep.
Now, talk to me about an animal in this area that is a good source of nutrition. You know, easy to hunt, or a lot of them, or...
These are one of the most rapidly reproducing animals in the whole ecosystem. It sort of looks like a Pac-Man, like a little ball of flesh that is a mouth, and then it's got rabbit legs that come off of it.
Pack rabbit?
And there's there's tons of them. There's just tons of them everywhere. Everywhere that you can, like you lift up a rock and there's 6 of them underneath there. You lift up a log, there's 12 more.
And what color are they?
It's flesh colored.
The last ones were purple, so it's important to know.
It is important.
Pac-Man's yellow, so like
these are just flesh colored, of varying tones.
What do you mean flesh colored? Our flesh colored?
You know how
Arl's flesh isn't peach.
It's like a sphinx. It's like a sphinx cat's flesh.
Sort of pinkish.
Disgusting.
It goes down to like a dark gray.
Pink to dark gray. Gross. And I don't want to hunt them, but I will if I have to.
There are just so many of them. They're not hard to hunt. You can hunt them with your fists.
Do they taste good? Are we talking like rabbit in all other, like, in terms of like taste, cooking, etc.?
Yeah, except the ball is the best part.
The ball is all of the part.
No, because the legs, you eat the legs on the rabbit.
Okay. Yeah,
You don't eat the ball on the rabbit. There's no ball.
Depending on the rabbit you catch. Dumb. Okay. And then name. So while you've been out here, you've been dealing with giant sloths and probably a verisimilitude of other animals and insects and etc. Actually, I'm gonna have you name two more. One, name a insect and what it does, whether it's poisonous, annoying, swarming.
We have noticed that there is a type of beetle that feeds on like ore deposits. So like they're eating metal from the earth.
Or eating that fucking blows. We're bringing metal. Or eating beetle. Okay. I hate that. Okay.
Yeah, so that could be a problem, but we don't notice like large swarms of them. It's only ever singular beetles.
Okay. And actually, as Dante, you said you were giving everyone else a hand after that. So in the moment in which you're giving Slippy a hand, you're helping him catalog the beetles and the differences in the giant sloths. You see a creature.
That one's pink. That one's green.
You see a creature just once, and you try to point it out to Slippy, but it's gone. And in the rest of the week, you're still trying to like find it again, but it seems as if you can't see it again. A rare creature of some kind. What rare creature exists in this area?
It's like a coyote with the head of a chicken.
Okay, a coyote with a chicote.
And it has
chicken Cody.
Several rows of teeth.
Y'all watch out for that chicken Cody out there. He's got several rows of teeth.
Why don't you love this? What's wrong with chicken Cody, Gabe?
Okay, I love that.
I just don't like I wouldn't like a duck weasel either. I'm just not a huge fan of bird heads.
Diesel.
Yeah, I'm not here for a diesel. Bird heads on mammal bodies. That's interesting.
Scary.
That's strange.
Okay.
Where do the feathers stop and where does the hair start?
Good question.
It's all feathers.
All feathers, like a mini griffin without wings. That sucks.
Feathers all the way down.
All right, all feathers. Okay.
Thanks. I hate it.
What's like one special thing with it? Like, it can fly. It can go invisible. It can.
It can unhinge its jaw like a snake.
Fucking the worst. When okay, so I think on par with the horror of a drop bear, just less common. Unhinge. I love it.
And thank goodness it's less common.
Unhinge.
And sometimes it doesn't do it to eat, it just does it.
I don't like that.
Oh, no.
The thing might just be friggin' like dragging its jaw across with it.
Not only do I never see this, I'm always going to see that.
And I'm pleased I didn't. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Gabe, near the end of that first week, Hyatt Cola has laid out a good foundation for this town. What does he want to spend the rest of his time doing? Does he want to spend the rest of his time like beginning to build these foundations, or explore deeper into some woods, or think about categorizing the ores or the river life? What does that look like?
Is everybody else categorizing their findings and doing all of their stuff and then going back up onto the ship? Like, where is everyone sleeping during this time?
On the ship.
I mean, that's a good question. Have you been sleeping in the wilderness, Cola?
Slippy has crafted a rudimentary dwelling in order to impress Carissa.
Yeah, Slippy's...
The meat trees are really easy to hollow out for war.
Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine there's been a little bit of interaction, like BBW worked on the farm area right near your land, right? So I imagine that you two planned out like where that farm spot would be, and, every now and then help each other out during that first week. BBW's, his second week. So you can go back to the ship. I think, you're at some point, someone could have come picked you up at the end of this week.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to keep working. I think my whole 2 weeks, if anyone tells me about useful stuff, I'll try and incorporate it into my construction.
Okay.
But I'm basically just going to start building frames of houses. No one is here to tell me whose houses are what.
Yeah.
But I'm making them.
Okay, then I think just to see if there's any extra thing that could help with that discovery is discovered, we'll come back to that and talk about like maybe the most important buildings that you get done beyond a few houses. Carl, You have spent a lot of this time categorizing the flora of the area. Is there anything else you would like to check out? Or do you want to spend a little bit more time categorizing a little bit more flora?
I think probably continue on what he's doing. It's a whole planet, so like, there's got to be plenty of stuff to find.
Okay, I like that. Then let's get a little bit more in depth on this flora. Talk to me about, there's a plant in the area that actually sort of like we got with like broccoli, right? The broccoli plant has like 4 edible parts
Yeah.
or something like that.
Broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts.
Bertini,
Yeah. So talk to me about a
Ale
plant.
also one of those.
I think so. Yeah.
Coriander.
Colombo.
Talk to me about a plant that has multiple uses, one of which is bad or has multiple parts. You know what I mean? Like maybe the seed is poisonous, or just the flower is bad and it gives
You
upset
can use it as a
tummy,
fart
or
cannon.
maybe it mimics death, or it causes blindness.
There is a bush that has berries that are poisonous if you eat them straight because the seeds are poisonous. But if you it's really nutritious if you just like mash it into a like a kind of a wine and just sift it, because you get all of the seeds out.
Okay.
Don't have to worry about missing any. The roots of the plant are also good with medicinal value. They like a skin salve kind of, an aloe of sorts.
Talk to me about a plant that the animals are seen eating a lot in the area. Maybe these pack rabbits. What do the pack rabbits eat on?
Ghost.
Jesus.
I think that there's a high in protein strain of grass that a lot of these small woodland creatures specifically eat.
Is it noticeably different than the other grasses around it? Is it taller, bushier, a different color?
Meteor.
Rather than just green, what stalks? What is it? Is
Blades?
that blades? Yeah, I guess. Rather than just green blades, they tend to have yellow streaks going up the blades as well.
I like it. Okay. BBW, you come across, I think it's much in that same vein. You come across while you're out with Kaarl looking to categorize these plants, you come across a special plant. It is the only one that you've seen in the area. It seems to be a rare growing plant. What is it, and what's special about it?
It looks a lot like poison ivy, except it's much more blue. So they look like a green bluer tint, and it actually gives you really good skin. So it's a very good pain relief kind of thing, almost like aloe vera.
Okay,
But it
so
looks
the
a lot
people
like
in this area have really great skin, because there's a lot of skin remedies. I like that. Cool. Okay. Cola, in this time you're able to build up a few dwelling houses, but you're also able to put in some work on another house that you think will be pretty important to the community, another building of some kind. What building is this?
I think Cola has decided maybe Cola got a sunburn today. Maybe Cola got a sunburn the other day. He's like,
Boy, do we have
you know
some
what?
plans for you.
You know what? I don't like this. And I think that at least some of the people on the ship right now also don't like this. So Cola has also dug out a pit. His plan is to turn it into like an underground community center, but for the moment, it's a hole in the ground.
Big deep hole in the ground.
Big deep hole in the ground. He's working on a roof. He has
Love it.
gotten more sunburned since he started this project. He's also constructed for himself like a gorilla nest, just like a huge, like maybe in a tree if he can find a good tree, but maybe also just on the ground. There's like trees and leaves and sticks, and this is where he's been sleeping.
Yeah. Okay. BBW, during this time, you've been helping Cola out a little bit with these buildings. What building did you throw hands on to help build up? Special community action building of some kind. Houses for sure got put up. Cola's working on an underground community center that provides good, cool space.
Definitely an eatery of some sort. Something that will serve food to community.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Like a Viking mead hall kind of like a long hall with big table kind of situation, or are we talking like
That sounds
McDonald's.
good. Sure, it wouldn't be like a
Like that, like a
diner or
longhouse.
something. Long community meat hall. That sounds good.
sick? What you have completed some of these residences. To what quality do you think that Cola and BBW have worked together to complete a few of these residences? Let's say on like a scale of 1 to 5, like what kind of quality do you think they are? 5 being the best.
Want to call it a scale of 1 to 6 and have me roll for it?
Sure, yeah, you can get a
I'll
plus.
use the help.
Yeah, BBW can give you a help action on that.
All right, 1d6. 1d6 for the quality of these houses. That's a 5. We built some good houses.
We did. I got a 4 for the help.
Okay, so then yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
a 5 to a 6 in the realm. I'll say that you probably completed 3 of them to that like really nice quality, and they could sleep up to, we'll say, 10 people. You wouldn't want to house 10 people in them, right? Because that's just super compact. But for the beginning of this, just being able to house, just like sleep that many people under a roof will be very helpful. Love it. Okay. Some residences, good quality, good/great quality.
And of course,
even.
BBW will provide entertainment.
Yes, of course.
Nice
Okay.
to have it.
Hell yeah. Okay, also, I need everyone to roll
No.
D7. I hate that I did this too, but it is in fact a D7. So
I don't think I have that.
What?
no one has that. I
Like this?
know.
Well, I'm already in roll 20, so
I know. I should
it's
have.
a 3 for me, M.
Okay.
Mine is
Um,
also a 3.
Roll, just roll a regular dice and flip a coin. If it's heads, add 1. If it's tails, don't.
But what
That's a
about
D7.
Boom.
1?
okay, that works. I don't have a coin, so I'll just use my phone.
That's why the coin is 0
I got
or 1.
3.
You got a 3. You got a 3. You got a 3. Gabe, what did you get?
Is it a 3?
A 4?
You son of a bitch.
Okay, that's
How dare you?
pretty
Gabe,
fantastic.
you die. That's wild.
You die.
Oh my god.
Again.
First time.
Okay, so it's going to be 3 to the east, 3 to the 3 to the north, east, southwest. So I will say those rolls could have only been a little bit better, and that's ideal. Okay, so you guys were picking where the Delta was going to land.
Picking.
Yeah, deciding with all of the information where the Delta was going to land. And you've done it. So, as you folks have spent this time atop this planet, time seems to be going slow, right? The less you have to do, the slower time goes around you. You folks have been all sort of focused on one task at a time. The work mostly done, your like beginning stages in a path that we don't really have laid out in front of us. We don't really know what, say, 5,000, if everyone is in perfect working order, people need on landing, but we can only assume the best decisions. So this 2 weeks has gone kind of slow for us. But as you know, with life, the more that you have to do, the faster that time goes. And that becomes very evident for you folks over the course of time preceding this. Within the end of this 2 weeks, you get an indicator on your ship. You're all prepared and ready for this day to come. We'll say that work actually slowed around this day. Maybe there was about a day of nothing and just sort of waiting in anticipation on the ship for this signal. But finally it does come. The slowest day, right? The waiting. But finally it does come, and you are out in your ship far enough away to be certain that you're in safety, but can view what is going down. You at first see a star flicker into light and then grow in intensity and size as streaks of light begin to come out of space in front of you, forming a huge mass, the mass of the Delta Dawn. Its speed obviously slowing because it's coming into, form in front of you, so slowing greatly from the invisibility of light speed. Yes, so it comes into form in front of you and slows greatly, but not entirely, as it continues forward, careening down and onto the planet. The Delta Dawn is pretty fucking big, so we're definitely going to be fudging some of this impact crater because this is a planet killer, right? Like the Delta Dawn crashing into the Earth, it is the end of the Earth.
Yeah, but the Earth is rotating. Think about factor that into your equation.
Good point. But so we're fudging just a little bit of that or maybe we don't have to. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right, Lawrence. In that as the Delta Dawn collides with this planet, you see an almost comical effect occur as the planet, like a little slingshot, stretches a little bit out from the two holds of this station and then slowly fidget its way back into the center as it is still being held. We'll say with that you can see parts of this wider station actually break down a little bit from this massive amount of energy, and you knowing that its energy reserves are already at full, so it doesn't really have anywhere for these to go. You see large surges of electricity course through the station. You see maybe some of the plating smash and pop off in different places. It's still in its hold. The planet still stationary after it comes back to rest, but is obviously damaged from this sheer impact. But the planet remains intact, maybe because of this. You see almost as in slow motion from up here, the impact of the Delta Dawn on the continent below. The ripple of earth that stretches out from underneath of it. But as when you drop something heavy into water, no, it's not water, but as when you drop something heavy into water, the water splashes back up over the top of this object, creating that little ripple back to the center. And maybe it's the sheer impact force of the massive space station that is the Delta, and maybe it's the fact that it's held stationary in space, but as it hits, the Earth ripples up and out, creating this wave that crashes back down after converging a bit from it, crashes back down into the Delta Dawn, smashing apart most of the space station and sinking into the ground what is left above at that moment. You folks wait watching this unnatural disaster occur as 10 ships come out of hyperspace behind it, you recognizing at least their builds. You've seen them aboard the Delta at some point, most of them. They note your ship, and slowly all of this squadron comes in for a landing. The Delta Dawn landed only about 50 miles south of the beacon. We'll say that the land around it has changed quite a bit, but not so vastly. You can see that it's now a much larger, hill-like area. Some of the work in the town was destroyed, but with how sturdily you built the living residences, they are still intact. They might require some repairs, but even for this first night are entirely usable. The longhouse, the roof has caved in, but with, again, a little bit of work, the long feed house, you can at least clear it out for usage tonight. The pit exists. Whatever work you had done on a roof has caved in, but again, the pit exists. The plans for a community in place. Some of the farm work has become destroyed. Maybe you had tilled the fields. They're definitely going to need to be retilled. The lines are still there. They're drawn, but they might need to be retilled at most. But I mean, other than that, right? This has maybe scared wildlife off for a bit, but it will return. The wreckage is vast. It covers this entire plain area. Some of it has even gone into the wastes on either side or the forests to the north and south. A large tower remains in the center, the top peak of the Delta Dawn station.
Cinematic.
There is so this tower in the center, a little bit of the station is underneath of it, and some of the, most of the plating is like buried in the countryside about. The materials are here, but the station itself is destroyed. You wait. There is wreckage. You can see pieces of ships. You can see much of the market space, right? Like whatever was in the market has been destroyed. You do see a few bodies. This was not a 100% clean crashing of a space station. And for a little bit of time, maybe about 10 minutes, as you and the members of the 10 ships that land beside you begin scoping out the wreckage, most centered around this main core of the Delta, a door is pried open on the front, and there is a line of folks inside that begin coming out. You can see behind them, or you get the idea through what they tell you, that behind them, the all power in the station just is gone, of course. But much of the station did actually survive underground, as the ground has compressed back in atop it. It's just a non-working elevator shaft that they are pulling people out of, those that did survive. And as you folks begin to help, you notice that, a good 90% of people survived. Some casualties were
Not bad.
expected. In fact, I think inevitable in an event as such, but being able to prepare so heavily for it and knowing what we were preparing for gave them the opportunity to do just that. The 10 ships that land, 3 are like storage cargo container ships, so they're a little bit bigger but are mostly storage. The rest are basic cruise ships like yourself. All of them are loaded up as much as they can be with these supplies. None of them are at 100% capacity, but they are... No, actually, I can say that they would be. They are loaded up to 100% capacity, because there's no reason that they would have, they're not hiding that.
Slippy would have raised hell.
Yeah. So, yeah. Now I have a brief couple questions, and I think I'll ask each of you one of them, and then all of you one question. So that first question will be for Gabe. Gabe, the Delta Station is about 75 miles to the northwest of where you have begun planning this town. What do you think that means for your plans? What do you think that means for the Delta Station's frame in the ground? What do you think? How do you think the community moves in this path?
Well, in the short term, if people 75 miles is a ways, but we do have 11 ships. So I suppose we all go down and we start trying to ferry survivors to the town, get them as settled as we can. If we're looking further into the future,
yeah, hit me with how you think they go.
Coming to the river is still the best idea. So I think we pull stuff to the town, or we just load up the storerooms of our spaceships and we move things from the wreckage to the town to start more thorough construction. I think in the back of our minds, we consider using the spaceship lasers to dig out a canal so that we could start building closer to the wreckage and not have to do this ferrying thing forever. But we still need water access, so we just need to dig a canal out there. That's a longer term project.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay. So the community begins its focus on, over time, creating a settlement over there as well.
Yeah, city in the shadow of the wreckage is sort of the future plan.
Okay. Lily, how do you think the wildlife of this area responds to this great impactful event? How do you think that it is impacted and it responds?
I don't know shit about wildlife. I think that
Me neither.
But Carl does.
Does he?
Carl might.
I think a large amount of animals that were native to the area around close to the base have moved away for safety, but there's a number of them that are still relatively comfortable with people. On large part, the Chacotis move off into the kind of deeper off into the
Thank
forest,
goodness.
and that honestly kind of causes almost overpopulation of the other things that we said.
Pack rabbits?
Yeah, the
Not for long.
too many
Not once
names.
I get
going.
my hands on them.
Basically, they're starting to kind of overpopulate, so it's a good chance for sparking an industry.
Pack
I
punching.
love that. Population explosion. Dante, talk to me about the farms over the course of the next, pretty immediately the farmland begins being used. What are the two most important crops that our community puts their focus on? They can be natural crops that we know about, because we as humans know about them, or they can be, a fun, fantastical crop. Doesn't matter.
Space corn.
Space corn sounds amazing, actually. Bros. Bright purple, neon purple corn and potatoes.
And
plain
potatoes.
potatoes.
Fuck yeah, man. Space corn and potatoes.
These are the most important things we need to focus on. No famines happening today.
Okay. Lawrence, after the crashing of the Delta, a community makes itself known to us. Who are they, and are they a danger?
I think we have a doomsday cult in the ship. There's a group of maybe 12 of them. They foresaw the ship crashing before it happened because they're a doomsday cult. And so they're attributing those actions to their belief system. Are they a danger to themselves? Probably more than anything, but not particularly, I'd imagine.
Dang, that's wild. I had not thought about community aboard the Delta making themselves known. I like that. Sick. Okay. With that in mind. As I said, with the passing of time, right, the more that you have to do, the faster it goes. And it is easy to lose track of time in a situation such as this, where you go from doing one thing that you think is right to having a laundry list of tasks that you can complete to aid your wider community. Your community is large, huge amount of people to have no buildings right to set down in. So like everyone sets to work instantly to make this happen. Actually, sorry, before I continue that, one more question, and that is it's going to be one for everyone. How do you think, what important role in the community going forward does your character fill? Be that training, hunting, merchants, building, could be anything.
Slippy uses his expertise as the stealth officer and his familiarity with the local wildlife to teach the generations how to hunt like the pack rabbits with your fists and the drop bears just with anything. Oh God, get it off me.
Perfect. Okay. Oh God, get it off me.
And all of this, of course, is in an attempt to, and he doesn't know. He might not know yet, but it's all to impress Carissa, whether they're on it or off again.
That is okay.
Yep.
Slippy trains the hunters.
Carl would like to train the carpenters by using his really, really incredible skills with a nail gun. You see, he can fire as many in the clip and just really fill those boards as much as needed.
Dude, just like
It's
this.
houses up like nothing. It's insane. It's crazy.
It is so dangerous to train a crew of builders to build by shooting nails at the house. But I love it.
Rapidly.
This is just our society. This is
Your
just the way we
accuracy.
do it here.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Okay,
This is how traditions are made.
BBW Cola.
I think like I definitely want to keep upkeep on those potato farmers and the space corn.
Okay,
The
so
space corn
BBW works
is
on farming.
Useful for mini cakes.
Okay, BBW farmer.
Cola takes on the ship troop of Delta Scouts, who he immediately renames the Cola Scouts and trains them in the ways of the wilderness, in how to catch fish with your hands and how to
Very hands hunting society.
Yeah, no, it's a hands hunting society. We're gonna grab things with our mitts as long as the things trust us to do so.
I knew I should have made that harpoon gun.
We'll get there. We'll definitely get there. But it's a wilderness survival hunting scout troop that swells in size under Cola's leadership, and they become true demons of the trees, while Cola watches proudly from his lawn chair.
Yes,
Is
the Cola
this-
Scouts grow from 0 members all the way to dozens of members.
Is this is this a children's organization or is this a all ages welcome organization?
It definitely started as a children's organization. If enough adults came to Cola and said that they were feeling left out,
I want to have fun in the woods.
they want to grab fish with their hands. All right, sure, we're doing it. Kids, welcome your new juniors. Adults, these are your captains. They've got years under their belt. Learn from them. I guess it's a seniority organization. It's how long have you been here? How long have you put in?
Yeah. That makes sense. I mean, the more experience you have, the more you can train others. Even if you're younger than them, like I imagine that Lucy's on board right away, and so like when the first adults start joining,
Lucy
she's
is
training
captain
adults.
Lucy is the actual, like, straight up the troop captain.
Yeah, Uncle Tombleson, you have to do what Lucy says.
Mm-hmm.
Slippy's groaning.
Yeah, and they will like throw rocks at you if you don't listen to the captain. Not big ones, but like,
pebbles.
It's symbolic.
Up to the mistake of a hand-sized rock once or twice.
Yeah, no, we shut that down after the first time. Now I go and I pick a bucket of rocks.
So yeah, the time begins to move much quicker as we begin to process the wreckage in this landscape, use it to create building materials, and begin building. Over the course of a few months, it becomes pretty apparent that 2 basically sister townships are beginning to be developed, not because of any schism or split in the community, but just because of you have like a portion of the community that wants to live nearby what they feel is the safety of the Delta Tower and its underground structure. So they begin to use a lot of the sheet metal that they harvest from the nearby landscape to begin building more sheet metal buildings. The sister city nearby the river in the Alpine Woods uses a mixture of these metals that they grabbed and the woods that Cola had processed before, plus they process now to build a more naturalized metal structured smaller city. The city around the Delta does grow to be a little bit larger in terms of its populace, like 3,000 to 2,000, we'll say. But again, that's just due to the sheer effect of already having a place to live for more of these people in the structure that exists. So they can build out from there as they go. But these 2 sister cities do begin to crop up. And under the leadership and aid of the leadership of the Delta, and including you folks, the towns begin to be built rather fast. Farmland is tilled and cropped, and within a few months we actually begin to see that happening. The farm's beginning to be built. We have living quarters, and we're beginning storehouses and things like this to begin unloading the ships and making this more into a livable society. There, around this time, you begin to find various people, natives of the planet, begin to come out of the woodwork, quite literally, down from the mountains and out from the forests to the north. They are similar to humans in that their skin is fleshy. It ranges from sort of a pretty luminescent white all the way into a pitch black color. They have two main pretty wide arms and then two smaller arms below those that seem to be more nimble. And there aren't a ton of them that come out of the woodwork, but over time, right, they begin to make up a population in your community, having things, food, shelter. They don't just bring with them, mouths to feed. They bring hands to work. They bring stories of their cities, stories of the automatons from the archons above, wreaking havoc, seemingly without purpose in their cities, collecting any sorts of technology and power sources that they can and bringing them back to the mothership. So these cities are like sort of apocalypse now scenarios where the buildings are crumbling and you're dealing with like hiding from progressing robots. But these are not things we've seen, just stories being told to us by the native population that have begun to join us in our towns. As the months go on, time is going rapidly, right? Where crops begin to come up, buildings are done, we're beginning like real street planning and like what other things do we need to build out? How can we begin providing comfort for our community members? Scouts in both organizations, on being the hunters organizations or the Cola Scouts, begin noticing and having scuffles with insectoid creatures that come out of the bushes, and the only thing that they have been able to draw with them in the few encounters that they have gotten is that the arrival of their Queen Chuch, is here.
No way.
To get his just desserts. And that's the rough structure of the thing told to you by Chuch is owed something in this community, and they will get it. The scuffles have turned minorly violent, but they have been scared off with enough numbers. And every
That sucks
time
for you guys.
they seem to be running deeper and deeper into the wasteland, the burning wasteland to our east.
Yeah, that's wild. I've never heard of Chuch, though.
Honestly, we stand a he, him, queen.
And that is sort of the pacing of our time as the two sister cities begin to be built in the plains. We zoom into the Delta Tower that remains, down into the elevator shaft and deep down into the station to see a room with destroyed fleshy walls and a being breathing shallowly but alive in the bottom. Picks himself up off of the wall and falls to the ground with a thud and a groan. You can see, quicker than you would expect or maybe even feel comfortable with, you can see his flesh begin to knit below his waist and into something. It begins to knit out from the lower half of his torso. The shallow breathing remains. He doesn't pick himself up off of the ground, but he remains there. And we zoom out. We see Rake and Marjorie in the command bay, which is atop. We zoom up, I guess, the tower. up the elevator shaft a few floors from the entrance. We see Rake and Marjorie. They've implemented some form of ladder, going over plans with the higher ups, Shaq, Bear, the four of you in the room, for widening these cities, beginning to protect them. We zoom out a little bit more and turn our attention to the surrounding area around the Delta Tower. We see these steel buildings that have cropped up in various ways. One looks like a market beginning to be used. In fact, we see steel walls being erected. About half of the steel walls are erected around a big entrance gate that has been crafted semi-well. It is clearly a gate. It is not the best gate. You might imagine that you'll replace it when you have time, but it's best to have something as the walls get built. We can see the sister city doing its work to raise its walls. The community members in this area are living, they're thriving, and they are surviving. And the last thing we see as we turn towards the Delta Tower and out over the town is their sign that posted above the gate. It says, "Welcome to the city of Delta Down." And we fade black.
This season of Dungeons, Drive-Ins, and Dice was DM'd by myself, M. Williams. The players this season were Lily Ayers playing Carl the Octopus, Dante Quiles playing BBW, Gabe Stringer playing Hyatt Cola, and Lawrence Jennings playing Slippy S. Tombleson. Or was it Tombleson S. Slippy? You know, I don't think I ever got that right on the first time, nor do I remember now what the exact combination of it was. But it doesn't matter anymore because we did it, folks. We did it. That's the end of season 1. I really appreciate you folks listening in. Incredible. This episode has been amazing to put together and to sort of reminisce back over this season. We certainly came a long way, and we're going to keep going. We got a fresh interim season coming right up for you. I don't know if we're going to miss too much of a beat, folks. We're just going to continue. We're going to roll right into the interim season. For now, this speed seems to be working the best, so buckle up. Lily Ayers has stepped out from the table to make room for Grace to join us at the table. So in our interim session, we're playing Monster of the Week, DM'd by Lawrence in a 40K setting, and Grace is joining our table. Everything else on the table is the same. Grace is hopping on in, and it's going to be sort of grim, dark, high fantasy investigator novel. So please listen in, enjoy these new characters for a short amount of time as we prepare to dive on in to another season for you folks, another long-term season of Dungeons & Dragons DM'd by Gabe Stringer. Thanks for joining us on this adventure, folks. The next one begins on October 26th.
Space will return again.
Space will return again. We got joy and factions and threads set up and excitement brewing. And
Next time,
this will
on
be
a
put on
planet.
the back burner for a long time, but you best believe the planning is happening.
Oh, we got a whole D&D game to play.
That's exactly what I mean. Yeah. And then this goes to the back burner. So I don't know that we need to do end of session questions.
I leveled up to level 15. Wow, imagine that, guys. I got 45 XP.
Still wouldn't be level 15 though.
I got 7 million
7
XP.
million XP. We did it, and I took.
It's because I got the good ending.
I will say that on a lot of this, so I'm beginning to work this into a playable module, and working on all these classes. And I was thinking through the I'm gonna heavily suggest that whatever DM makes up their own planets and their own missions, but if they want to run a module, I'm gonna give them the module that we've played to the most part. And I'm thinking about a lot of these missions that you guys have done, and in all of them, like the enemies are gonna have stat blocks and health totals, and you guys did not. You guys did the good ending on most of the missions, like to the best of the good ending capability. You know what I mean?
We did remove Carissa's hands.
That
which is
one wasn't that
regrettable.
one. Yeah, that's why most.
That's honestly, that's pretty regrettable.
But like you figured out a way to like move the lava worm away. You didn't kill it. You figured out a way to like push the bandits away. You might have fucked with one of them, but you didn't like wholesale slaughter the bandit crew just for like
took their shoes.
You got their shoes, but like you guys did the good outcomes, and it's interesting. Like I don't think that will be the it's set up to fight. You fight the thing, you kill the lava worm, and maybe the situation is solved. But it's like, I don't know. You guys did more and narratively interesting things. So I think it's interesting the way that it'll sit in a module.
Honestly, the Mr. Blood mission is a classic.
I enjoyed that one.
That's a good one.
Editing.
That's my favorite arc, probably.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that was
for me, like, most memorable.
Yeah. The blood arc was our only, I would say, like real full of its own arc. Like the first two were kind of like warm up missions and figuring out how to play and what we were doing, and then Blood's arc was like really playing with things. Yeah, interesting. Sick.
Hell yeah.
Well gamed.
Another one in the belt.
Damn.
Good campaign.
We did the galaxy.
We saved our little pocket.
So, end of game milestones. What character do you think walked the most?
Slippy. Oh no, actually Carl. So I'm taking
Every
8
step
steps
is
every
8,
time you guys
yeah.
do it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's hard to beat.
I walked way
I
more
really
than
hard to beat. What character fell into the most traps?
not Slippy.
Fell
He's
quite
never
literally
tried.
BBW,
Definitely
I
not
think.
Slippy. I'm gonna say BBW because he got captured and thrown out on a rope several times.
Went
was
out
us,
went out
though.
on
Wait.
a rope several
Is
times.
it a trap if it's your own crew?
He fell.
The trap was joining the crew in the beginning.
What
you're about to know
character
who
ate the
calling.
most food?
Not BBW.
Lucy.
Lucy. Okay.
Hands down Lucy. But I would say that
And what-
BBW's food was more impactful.
And what character death made you the saddest?
God damn it.
That guy I threw off a building.
It was Chutch until about 20 minutes ago.